And after packages, I have given introduction on triggers. So what is trigger? Is it named block or anonymous block? It is a named block. In that block, what we are defining? A set of statements. When those statements get executed, when we submit DML or DDL command, the code in the trigger will be executed. So trigger is a named block. Okay, in that block, we are defining a set of statements. Those statements get executed when we submit DML or DDL command. So it is same as procedure. Trigger is same as procedure, but for procedure execution, explicitly we have to call. For trigger execution, just submit DML or DDL command. Implicitly it calls trigger. What is the purpose of trigger? To control DMLs. Like don't allow user to perform DMLs on Sunday. So to control DMLs, don't allow user to perform DMLs on Sunday. On holidays, don't allow DMLs. Before office timings, after office timings, don't allow DMLs. So these are controlling DMLs. To audit the tables, okay, we can use trigger. Which user is accessing our table? On which date, at which time he accessed? Everything we can record in the background. That is called auditing. Next, we can define our own business rules. To define our own constraints, we can use trigger. So these are the types of triggers. How many types are there? What are those? Database. Table level trigger, schema level trigger, database level trigger. If trigger is created on table, that is table level trigger. If trigger is created on one user, that is schema level trigger. Trigger is created on database level trigger. In today's session, completely we focus on table level trigger. In today's session, completely we focus on table level trigger. Pay attention, listen carefully. If trigger is created on table, that is table level trigger. In a table level trigger, two types are there. First one is statement level trigger. Second one is row level trigger. Okay. This is the syntax we have to follow to define the trigger. To define the table level trigger, follow this syntax. Observe here, create or replace trigger name. When you want to execute this trigger, we have to tell before DML operation or after DML operation, we have to tell here. When this trigger code should be executed, that we are telling here. Before performing DML or after performing DML, we are telling. For statement level trigger, don't write for each row. For each row we are writing means row level trigger. Once again I am telling. If trigger is created on table, that is table level trigger. On EMP table I am creating trigger. On department table I am creating trigger like this. If trigger is created on table level trigger. In the table level trigger, two types are there. Statement level, row level. If for each row is not there, statement level trigger. For row level trigger, write for each row. That's it. This you already know. Declare begin end. In front of this, we are writing trigger header. Create or replace trigger name. When you want to execute, we have to tell before performing DML or after performing DML. On which table? If statement level trigger, don't write for each row. For row level trigger, write for each row. Remember this syntax, follow it. Okay. Now, We have to understand what is this before and after. Pay attention, listen carefully. So we can define before trigger, after trigger. Understand this. We are writing like this. Before. I'm writing like this. Before. DML list I'm giving like this. Update. So what is the meaning of this one? Here we write like this. Before DML list. So I'm writing before update. What is the meaning of this one? Understand. The meaning of this one is before performing update operation, this trigger code will be executed. Before update means before performing update operation, this trigger code will be executed. That is the meaning of this one. Means before performing update means first trigger gets executed. First trigger gets executed. Then DML operation will be performed. That is the meaning of before trigger. Before trigger means before performing DML operation, trigger gets executed. I'm writing before update. Means before performing update operation, trigger executed. Means first trigger gets executed, then update operation will be performed. Suppose I'm writing after trigger here. Okay, after update. Okay, the name itself is giving the meaning. After update means first update operation will be performed. After update, trigger gets executed. That's it, simple. Once again, I'm telling. Before trigger means we write like this. Before update. Like this we write. So before performing update operation, trigger gets executed. Means first trigger gets executed, then DML operation will be performed. Means update operation will be performed. That is the meaning of before update, before trigger. Before trigger means first trigger gets executed, then DML operation will be performed. After trigger means opposite of this one. After update means after performing update operation, trigger gets executed. Means first update operation will be performed. First update operation will be performed, then trigger gets executed. Before trigger means first trigger gets executed, then DML will be performed. After trigger means first DML operation, then trigger gets executed. So when you want to execute this trigger code that you are telling, based on our requirement, we use them. Sometimes we define before trigger, sometimes we define after trigger based on our requirement. Before trigger means first trigger gets executed, then DML operation will be performed. Next, after trigger. After trigger means first DML operation will be performed, then trigger gets executed. That's it. This is the meaning of before trigger, after trigger. Okay. Next, understand the statement level trigger, row level trigger. In the table level trigger, two types are there. One is statement level trigger, another one is row level trigger. What is statement level trigger? What is row level trigger? We have to understand. Statement level trigger and row level trigger. See, understand now? What are these? See, the names are giving the meanings. Statement level trigger means for one SQL statement, one time trigger gets executed. Row level trigger means for every row, one time trigger gets executed. Understand this? For example, here I'm defining trigger T1. In this, I'm defining some code. Okay, assume that this is statement level trigger. Assume that this is statement level trigger. Next, I'm defining another trigger T2. T2. In this, I'm defining some code here. So this second trigger has, the second trigger is row level trigger. Understand? I am submitting one command like this. Update emp set salary equals to salary plus 1000. Assume that in the emp table, 14 rows are there. So 14 rows updated here. Now you already know that when we submit DML command, implicitly trigger gets executed. So for one SQL statement, for one DML statement, for one SQL statement, one time this trigger code gets executed. This code gets executed for one time. Because of this update command, how many rows updated here? 14 rows updated. For every row, one time this row level trigger gets executed. For first row, trigger gets executed. For second row, trigger gets executed. For third row, trigger gets executed. Like this. How many times trigger gets executed? 14 times. This trigger gets executed for 14 times. This is the difference between statement level, row level. Statement level trigger means for one SQL statement, one time trigger gets executed. Row level trigger means for every row, one time trigger gets executed. 14 rows updated, 14 times trigger gets executed. That's it. Suppose I'm writing like this, where job equals to manager. To the managers, we are increasing salary. Assume that 3 rows updated. Assume that 3 rows updated. Now, because of this update command, how many times statement level trigger executed? One time. How many times row level trigger gets executed? 3 times. 3 times like this. For every row, one time. Like this. Statement level trigger means it gets executed once for one DML statement. That's why we're calling statement level. For one statement, one time trigger gets executed. Row level trigger gets executed one time for every row. It's executed once for every row affected by DML. For every row, one time. The names are giving the meaning. Statement level trigger. For one statement, one time trigger gets executed. Row level trigger. For one row, one time trigger gets executed. That's it. So, see here. I told 4 points here. First one before trigger. Second one after trigger. Third one statement level trigger. Fourth one row level trigger. 4 points I told. What is before trigger? Before trigger means we are writing like this. Before we are giving DML list. Okay, we are writing like this. Before trigger means before performing this update operation, trigger gets executed. Means first trigger gets executed. Then DML operation will be performed. After trigger means we are writing like this. After we are giving DML list. After performing this update operation, trigger gets executed. Means first update operation, first DML operation will be performed, then trigger gets executed. Before trigger means first trigger gets executed, then DML. After trigger means first DML, then trigger. Statement level trigger means for one update command, for one DML command, one time trigger gets executed. Row level trigger means for every row, if 14 rows updated, 14 times trigger gets executed. If 5 rows updated, 5 times trigger gets executed. Means for every row, one time. Statement level trigger means for one SQL statement, one time trigger gets executed. Row level trigger means for every row, one time trigger gets executed like this. To get clarity on all these things, see one example on defining trigger. Examples on defining trigger. See, this first purpose I'm covering now. Trigger can be used to control the DMLs. To control DMLs, we can use trigger. Now, the question is, define a trigger to don't allow user perform DML operations on Sunday. Okay. Define a trigger to perform DMLs. Define a trigger to don't allow user to perform DMLs on EMP table on Sunday. Okay. On EMP table on Sunday. This is our requirement. If any user is from Monday to Saturday working days, if any user is submitting command like this, from Monday to Saturday, if any user is submitting command like this, update them. But on Sunday, if any user is submitting this command, on Sunday, if any user is submitting this command, don't allow him to perform this operation. Don't allow user to perform this update operation. Raise error like this, or a minus 20,050. You cannot perform DMLs on Sunday like this. This is our requirement. Understand the question here? Trigger purpose is controlling DMLs. If any user is submitting DML command from Monday to Saturday, allow. If any user is performing DML operation on Sunday, raise error. So define a trigger to don't allow user to perform DMLs on Sunday. So when we submit update command like this, implicitly it calls the trigger. Define the trigger now. How to define the trigger? Create or replace trigger. Give the trigger name. Now when this trigger code should be executed, we have to tell. Now which trigger we have to define now? Before trigger or after trigger, we have to decide. You tell me which trigger we have to define, before trigger or after trigger. Okay, why before trigger? Why before trigger? Okay, see here, if we define after trigger, suppose if you are defining after trigger here. Okay, suppose we are defining like this: after performing insert operation or delete operation or update operation on EMP table. Okay, statement level trigger we want to define. So declare begin and semicolon slash, like this we define. Okay. So if we define after trigger here, what happens, First it increases salary to all employees. So first it updates. After that, trigger code will be executed. Trigger is displaying error. Salary updated to all employees. It is telling that you cannot perform DML on Sunday. Mistake or not? Already it is updated. Already salary increased. Okay, and it is telling that you cannot update on Sunday. Mistake or not? Mistake. That's why we cannot define after trigger here. Definitely we have to go for before trigger. Before updating, it has to check Sunday or not. If Sunday, error. If not Sunday, update. So can we define after trigger here? No. If we define after trigger, what happens? First it updates. After increasing the salary, it tells you cannot update on Sunday. Meaningless. Already salary updated, you are telling that you cannot update on Sunday. Meaningless. That's why don't define after trigger here. Go for before trigger. So user is submitting like this. When user is submitting a DML command, trigger will be called implicitly. How to define trigger? Create or replace trigger, trigger name. Which trigger we want to define? Before trigger. Before performing which operations? Insert operation or update operation or delete operation. On which table? EMP table. Declare, begin, end, semicolon. Slash. Find today's weekday now. Find today's weekday. How to find today's weekday? To care of sysdate comma dy. So this function call finds today's weekday. This function call finds today's weekday. If today is Sunday, if this value is equals to Sunday, then raise the error. How to raise error? You already know. Raise application error. Raise application error. Minus 20,050. You cannot update on Sunday. To close this if and if. That's it. Suppose on Monday I am submitting update command. Suppose on Monday I am submitting update command. On Monday I am submitting this update command. What happens now? It finds today's weekday. So is Monday equals to Sunday? It is checking. Condition is false. It will not raise any error. So updates the salary. Suppose on Sunday I am submitting. On Sunday I am submitting update command. Before update, trigger code gets executed. Sunday equals to Sunday. Condition is true. Raises error. On Sunday, raising error. On remaining days, updating. Like this, we can control the DMLs. Now, you tell me the code now. Define a trigger to don't allow user to perform DMLs on EMP table on Sunday. This is our requirement. You tell me the code. What we have write here? Create or replace trigger with the trigger name. Trigger name we are giving as T1. Which trigger we have to define? Before trigger or after trigger? Before trigger. Can we define after trigger here? No. If we define after trigger, first it updates. After that, it tells that you cannot update. You cannot update. Means mistake. So that's why definitely we have to go for before trigger. So define before trigger here. Before performing which operations? Insert operation or update operation or delete operation. On which table? EMP table. Declare, begin, end, semicolon, slash. Just in the trigger header, we are telling that when this trigger code should be executed. In the trigger header, we are telling that when this trigger code should be executed. So we are telling that before performing any DML operation, before performing insert or update or delete operation on EMP table, execute this code. Before performing insert or update or delete operation on EMP table, first execute this code. Then perform this DML operation. Like this we are instructing. When to execute trigger, we are telling. That's it. Find today's weekday now. Okay, what we are writing? If how to find today's weekday? To care of sysdate comma dy. Okay, to find weekday, we are writing like this. If today's weekday is equals to Sunday, then raise the error. How to raise the error? Raise application error, give our own error code. Our own error code must be between minus 20,000 to minus 20,999. I'm giving minus 20,050. You cannot perform DMLs on Sunday. To close this if and if. Okay, code is over. Simple, very easy. So declaration part optional, no variables, no need to write declare. Code is over, observe. Now, just copy this code. I'm logging as our batch user. Set server output on. Set verify off. Set page size and line size as 200. Clear the screen. Observe now. Till now we didn't create any trigger. First trigger we are creating. So please confirm, is it statement level trigger or row level trigger? How you are telling this is statement level trigger? For each row is not there. If for each row is not there means that is statement level trigger. Is it before trigger or after trigger? Before. So this is statement level trigger before trigger. Okay, just copy this code at SQL prompt. See here what it is telling. Trigger created. T1 trigger created. When this trigger code will be executed? Before performing insert or update or delete operation on EMP table. Okay. Suppose I am submitting update command like this. Update EMP set salary equals to salary plus 1000. So I am submitting update command like this. I am submitting update command like this. So before update, understand here? Okay. Before update, before performing update operation, first this code will be executed. Before trigger means first trigger gets executed. So here I'm submitting update command on EMP table. I'm submitting update command on EMP table. Before update on EMP table, trigger code gets executed. Now, it is finding today's weekday. What is today's weekday? What is today's weekday? Thursday. Condition true? False. Condition false means it comes out of the if. So before trigger means first trigger gets executed. So trigger executed, condition false, not raising any error. Okay, then DML operation will be performed. It means then updates. So today is Thursday. So Thursday equals to Sunday false. So it is not raising any error. So it performs updation. It increases 1,000 rupees salary to all employees. See, increase. Working perfectly because today is not Sunday. If Sunday gives error, today is not Sunday, working day. So updating. Not only update, but delete also, for insert also. Okay. So before performing update operation, trigger gets executed. Before insert operation, trigger executed. Before delete operation, trigger executed. Not only for update, for insert also, delete also. Okay. Now for testing purpose, instead of comparing with Sunday, for testing purpose, instead of comparing with Sunday, compare with Thursday. Is this trigger working or not? To test that. Instead of comparing with Sunday, compare with Thursday. Copy this. See here. Because of R replace, existing trigger code will be modified. For replace is not there, we get error. Trigger name must be unique. Because of for replace, existing T1 trigger code modifies. Previously Sunday was there. Now we are comparing with Thursday. Trigger code modified. Now I am submitting update command like this. Update emp set salary equals to salary plus 1000. Check here. What is happening? Understand? No? See, I am submitting update command like this. So before update on EMP table, this trigger code gets executed. This toChar function is finding today's weekday. So today's weekday is Thursday. Is Thursday equals to Thursday? It is checking. Is this condition true? Yes, true. Condition true means enters into if block. Rises error. Now it gives error now. So because of today's Thursday equals to Thursday, condition true. It is rising error. Observe. See error. Who is restricting us? Observe here. T1 trigger is controlling us to perform this DML operation. What it is telling? You cannot perform DMLs on Sunday. So like this, we can control the DMLs. To perform DMLs procedure, to control DMLs trigger. Okay. Not only for update, for delete also. Suppose I am trying to delete records here. Delete from EMP, where job equals to manager. I am trying to delete manager's records. Before performing delete operation on EMP table, before performing delete operation on EMP table, trigger code executed. It is finding today's weekday, Thursday. Thursday equals to Thursday. Condition true. Raises error. Error it is giving. Observe. T1 is restricting us to perform this DML operation. So this is about before trigger, statement level trigger. This trigger is before trigger, statement level trigger. Okay. Our intention of defining this trigger is controlling DMLs on Sunday just for testing purpose. Okay, I have written Thursday here. But our intention of defining this trigger is controlling DMLs on Sunday. Like this with it. Okay, so here the trigger working or not we are testing. From Monday to Saturday, if you submit this command, it gives output as 14 rows updated. On Sunday, if you submit this command, it raises error. So trigger T1 is controlling us to perform this DMLs on Sunday. That's it. Like this you can test. Not only for update, but delete also. Delete or insert also. Please confirm. Did you understand this first example? So when we submit this DML command, implicitly trigger will be called. This trigger code will be executed. So like this, we can control the DMLs. Next. On controlling DMLs, one more example I want to cover now. Second example. This one. Just now we did this. Sunday don't allow DMLs. Just now we did this. Next, second one. Don't allow DMLs before office timings or after office timings. Second example on controlling DMLs. Define a trigger to don't allow user perform DMLs before or after office timings. Before or after office timings. So before office timings, raise error. After office timings, raise error. Assume that office timings are. Assume that office timings are 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. These are the office timings. If time is before 10 a.m., before 10 a.m., if we submit update command, raise error. After 4 p.m., if user is submitting any DML command on EMP table, raise error. If user is performing DMLs between 10 to 4, allow. Suppose at morning 11 a.m., user is submitting update command, allow. If time is between 10 to 4, allow. Before 10 a.m., raise error. After 4 p.m., raise error. So allow DMLs between office timings only. Before office timings, don't allow any DML. After office timings, don't allow any DML. DML should be allowed between office timings only. If not office timings, raise the error. Yesterday I have given one example. Open Axis Bank app or website. Try to open account. Try to open account at night 9 o'clock. It gives error. You can open account between morning 7 a.m. to night 8 p.m. only. 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. only. You can open the account like this. Before office timings or after office timings, it is raising error. So this kind of program only we want to define. So define the trigger. Okay. Suppose user is submitting like this. Update EMP set salary equals to salary plus 1000. When user is submitting DML command, implicitly it calls trigger. Define the trigger now. How to define? Create trigger, trigger name. Now which trigger we have to define for this example? Before trigger or after trigger? Before trigger. Okay. Suppose if we define after trigger here, first it updates. Okay, after that it tells that, it tells that, you can update between, morning 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. only, like this. Understand? Suppose, at 7 a.m. I'm submitting this update command. If I define after trigger, what happens now? First it updates. After updating, it tells that you can update between 10 to 4 only. Meaningless. Already salary updated. Okay, after that it is telling that you can update between 10 to 4 only. At 7 a.m. updated, and it is telling that you can update between 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. only. Means meaningless. So that's why we cannot define after trigger here. Definitely we have to define before trigger. So define before trigger now. So what we are writing? Create trigger, trigger name. Which trigger we have to define? Before trigger. Before performing which operations? Insert or update or delete. On which table? EMP table. Declare begin end semicolon slash. Like this, right? Okay. Now pay attention, listen carefully. Here we have to find hours value. How to find hours value you already know. Okay, which function we have to use here? To carry. Okay, date also contains time or not? Yes, sysdate. Sysdate also contains time. From the time I want to get only hours part. To get hours part, which one we have to use? HH. I want to get hours value in 24 hours format, not 12 hours format. HH means it gives in 12 hours format. I want to get in 24 hours format. What we have tried here? H is 24. This hours value, I'm holding in one variable H. I'm taking one variable H. H value I'm taking. So H integer variable. H holds our value. Okay, if time is not between 10 to 4, raise error. If time is between 10 to 4, allow. If time is not between 10 to 4, understand my statement. If time is not between 10 to 4, error. So time is in H. If hours value is not between, okay, 10 to 4. 4 means in 24 hours format, 16. So for 16, don't write 16 here, write 15 only. 15 means 3. Up to 359. Up to 359, hours value 3 only, means 15. If time is not between 10 to 15. Okay, if time is not between 10 to 359, the meaning of this one is if time is not between 10 to 359, then raise error. Raise application error. How to raise error? You already know. Close this if, right? End if. That's it. Like this, you write the code. Understand now? Suppose at 4:30 p.m. I am submitting this update command. 4:30 means before office timings or after, is it office timings or after office timings? After office timings. So after office timings, I am trying to update now. So now trigger will be called. When we submit update command, trigger will be called. Now hours value 4 means hours value is 16. Now H value is 16. Okay, 16 not between 10 and 15. 16 not between 10 and 15. True. So rises error. Error. After office timings, that's why it is giving error. 16 not between 10 and 15. Yes, true. Okay, that's why. Because of this reason only, don't write 16 here. Write 15 only. 15 means the meaning of this one is up to 359. Up to 359, hours value is 15 only. Don't write 16 there. If you write 16 there, this condition will become false. Okay, understand? If you write 16 here, okay, this condition will become false now. 16 not between 10 and 16 means false. 16 is between 10 and 16. So condition will become false. False means it updates. At 4:30 user is able to update. Mistake or not? At 4:30 user is able to update here. That's why don't write 16 there. Write 15 here. 15 means up to 359. Up to 359. 15 means 3. Okay, if you write 16 there, at 4:30, it allows update operation. Okay, till 4:59 it allows. Till 4:59, hours value will be 16 only. But our intention is up to 4 only. We want to allow DMLs. So that's why don't write 16 there, write 15 there. That's it. Now you tell me the code now. Okay. What is our requirement? Before office timings, raise error. After office timings, raise error. Allow DMLs between 10 to 4 only. What we have to write? Create or replace trigger name T2. Which trigger we have to define? Before trigger or after trigger? Before trigger. Before performing which operation? Insert or update or delete. On which table? AMP table. We declare begin, end, semicolon, slash. Find hours value. How to find hours value? Took care of sysdate, comma, hours value we want to get in 24 hours format. H is 24. So hold hours value in which variable? H. Declare H here. H which data type? entity data type. Hour value 10, 11, 12 like that. So if hours value not between, if time is not between, okay, 10 to 359, 3 means 15. If time is not between 10 to 359, then raise the error. Raise application error. Raise application error. Give our own error code. I'm giving minus 20,060. Your own error message. DMLs allowed between 10 a.m. to 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. only. Close this if end. Okay, observe now. I'm copying this. See here. Trigger created. Observe. Trigger name is T2. T2 trigger created. I'm submitting update command. Observe now. Update emp set salary equals to salary plus 1000. Observe carefully. Who is restricting us? Observe. T1 trigger or T2 trigger? T1. T1 trigger is controlling us, not T2 trigger. See here. Because what is T1 triggers code? T1 triggers code was Thursday equals to Thursday. Condition is true. That's why it is raising error. So now T1 is restricting us. This is disturbance for us. I want to test T2 is working or not. So T1 is disturbing us. So I want to disable this trigger now. Now disable trigger T1. Disable means temporarily trigger will not work. So temporarily trigger will not work. That is the meaning of disable. Disable primary key. Disable primary key means temporarily primary key will not work. Just like constraints can be disabled, like that triggers can be disabled. Disabling trigger means temporarily trigger will not work. I want to disable trigger T1. How to disable the trigger, sir? Alter trigger name disable. How to disable the trigger? Alter trigger name disable. Means temporarily it will not work. In the future, if you want to enable, what we have to write here? Enable. Remember this. When you are practicing at the time also, this point is useful to you. Now T1 trigger is controlling us. Because of today's Thursday equals to Thursday, it is giving error. So today is Thursday equals to Thursday, so raising error. T1 trigger is controlling us. So disable this trigger T1, alter trigger T1, disable. Trigger disabled. Okay. Trigger disabled. Now submit this update command now. Okay, I'm submitting update command. When update command is submitted, implicitly it calls the trigger. When update command is submitted like this, implicitly it calls the trigger. I'm sorry, trigger T2. Okay. T2 trigger called here. Okay. Just a minute. Okay. Now here I am submitting update command. When we submit update command, implicitly it is calling trigger. Before updating on EMP table, this trigger code gets executed. Now it is finding hours value. Now the time is 3:05. Observe, now the time is 3:05. So 3 means 15. H value is 15 now. Okay, 15. Okay, is 15 not between 10 and 15? False. Condition is false. 15 is between 10 and 15. Not between 10 and 15 means false. Okay. 15 not between 10 and 15 means false. 15 is between 10 and 15. Not between 10 and 15 means false. So condition false means it will not raise any error. It updates now. So because of these are office timings, it updates. Because of office timings, updating. Observe. Now the time is 3:05. So updating. So because of office timings, it is updating. Just for testing purpose, instead of taking 15 for testing purpose, I'm taking up to 14. 14 means what is the meaning of this one? 10 up to 10 to 259. It allows DMLs. If time is not between 10 to 259, error. Just for testing purpose, I'm writing 14. Create this trigger again. See here, trigger created. Submit update command now. Update emp set salary equals to salary plus 1000. So what is happening? Understand here. We are submitting update command like this. So when update command is submitted, implicitly trigger called. Before update on EMP table, now this trigger code executes. Before update on EMP table, this trigger code will be executed. It is finding hours value. Okay, now the time is 3:07. 3 means H value is 15 now. Okay, is 15 not between 10 and 14? Yes, 15 not between 10 and 14. Condition is true. Condition true means rising error. It is giving error now. See here. So because of not office timings, it's giving error. T2 trigger is controlling us. Our trigger is working perfectly. So this is trigger code. This is trigger code for testing purpose. If we submit DML command between 10 a.m. to 3:59, like this, update EMP set salary equals to salary plus 1000. It gives output as 14 rows updated. Suppose at before 10 a.m. or after 3:59 or after 3:59, if we submit this update command, it gives error. It gives output as error. It gives error as aura minus 20,060 DMLs allowed between 10 to 4 only. So like this, we can control the DMLs. So this is a way of controlling DMLs. Now very clearly you know how to control the DMLs. 2 examples I covered. If Sunday, raise the error. If working day, allow DML. Second example. If before office timings or after office timings, raise error. If office timings, allow DML. So this is the way of controlling DML. Please confirm, is it clear about controlling DMLs? Online students, please confirm. Did you understand these 2 trigger examples? How to control the DMLs? Did you understand this? Next. Okay. See. Next one is auditing tables. Before going to audit the tables, okay. Now, is this first example? Please confirm. Is this first example before trigger or after trigger? Before trigger. Is it statement level trigger or row level trigger? Statement level. Okay. The second trigger, before trigger or after trigger? Before trigger. Is it statement level trigger, row level trigger? Statement level. So till now we have seen before trigger, statement level trigger. Till now we have seen before trigger, statement level trigger. Now see one example on after trigger, row level trigger. Before going to discuss about row level trigger, must understand what is this colon new and colon old. These two we must understand. Colon new, colon old. And remember that these can be used in row level triggers only. Row level triggers only. In statement level trigger, we never use colon new, colon old. Colon new, colon old, we can use in row level trigger only. So before going to know about row level trigger, first we should know these things. So what is this colon new, colon old, sir? These are built-in variables, ready-made variables, built-in variables. When trigger is executed at runtime, these variables will be created. So variable means that belongs to particular data type. These are which data types are? These are percentage, row type. Colon is there means understand that those are the bind variables. These are bind variables. So what are colon new, colon old? Those are the built-in variables, means ready-made variables. When trigger is executed at runtime, colon new variable will be created, colon old variable will be created. Those are which data types are? Row type. That's why they can hold entire row. And those are bind variables. That's why we are using colon. Okay. So what are colon new, colon old? These are built-in variables. So when trigger is executed, okay, when trigger is executed at runtime, these variables will be created. Okay, these are built-in variables, and these are percentage, row type variables, and these are bind variables. These are bind variables. Then what is this colon new? And this can be also called as pseudo records. This can be also called as pseudo records. So interviewers may ask like this: do you know pseudo records? Means you can explain about colon new, colon old. Colon new, colon old can be also called as pseudo records. Listen. Pay attention, listen carefully. What is this new? What is old, sir? The names are giving the meanings. Colon new is the ready-made variable. It can hold entire row. So what new holds, sir? New holds new row. Colon old. Colon old is one ready-made variable. Row type variable. Row type variable means holds entire row. What it holds, sir? It holds old row. New holds new row. Old holds old row. To hold new row, new. To hold old row, old. And remember that this can be used in row level trigger only. This can be used in row level trigger only. See, in case of DML operation, what about new? What about old? I am writing here. See, understand this. Pay attention, listen carefully. This point is important. DML operation, I am writing in first column. In case of insert, we are inserting new row. Suppose assume that table name is student. Student ID, student name, student city is the table. To insert new record, I submit command like this. insert into student values. I'm giving values like this 1 2 3 4 a HYD like this. Like this, I am submitting the command. So this is table structure. This is student table structure. In a student table, I want to insert the record. So I am submitting this insert command. So when we submit insert command, so at runtime, two variables will be created. One is :new, another one is :old. This one is :new, and this one is :old. In case of insert, new holds new row, because this is new row. This new row will be stored in the new variable. In case of insert, there is no old row, so old values will be null. Old values will be null. In case of insert, new variable holds new row, old values will be null. This is the point we have to understand. We are inserting new row. So new row is there. In case of insert, there is only new row. There is no old row. New holds this new row. Old value will be null. In case of insert, there is no old. So old holds null. New holds this new row. This is in case of insert. 3 cases I am telling. This is case 1, insert. In case of insert, new holds new row, old holds null. Second case, update. Second case, update. In case of update, what is happening? Understand. Case 2, update. Suppose I want to update this HYD value as. I want to update this HYD value as. As of now, this is existing row in the student table. This HYD value, I want to modify as Bangalore. So to modify this, I am submitting update command like this. Update in which table? Student table. Set which value? SCT. New value Bangalore. Where? Student ID equals to 1 2 3 4. This update command I am submitting. So here, new old, two new variables are there. Two variables are there. In case of update, old holds old row. Old holds old row. Means before update, what was the row? 1 2 3 4 A HYD. Before update, old row. After updating, now city value is BLR. This is new row. Before update, that is old row. After update, that is new row. Before update, value was HYD. HYD value modified as BLR. This is new row. This is old row. New holds new row. Old holds old row. Before update, whatever the row was there, that will be stored in old. After update, whatever the row is there, that will be stored in new. New holds new row, old holds old row. So in case of insert, new holds new row. Old value will be null. There is no old row. In case of update, before update, whatever the row was there, that was old row. After update, whatever the row is there, that is new row. This is before update row, old row. This is after update row, new row. So in case of update, new holds new row, old holds old row. Next, third case. So now this HYD value modified as Bangalore. The student table, this HYD value modified as Bangalore. Okay. Next one. This is student table structure. Okay. Now, next third case. Third case is delete. You can guess. In case of delete, case 3 is delete. In case of delete, suppose I want to delete 1, 2, 3, 4 record. So I'm submitting command like this. Delete student. Delete from student where SID equals to 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. So this one is new and this one is old. In case of delete, there is no new row. 1, 2, 3, 4 is existing row. So old holds old row, existing row. Old holds old row. In case of delete, there is no new row. So new holds none. We are deleting 1, 2, 3, 4 record here. Understand this point. We are deleting 1, 2, 3, 4 record. 1, 2, 3, 4 means existing record, old record. So old holds old row, existing row. In case of delete, there is no new row. New value will be null. New value is null. Old holds old row. That's it. Once again, I am telling, listen. So we are learning about what is colon new and colon old. So these are two ready-made variables, built-in variables. When trigger code is executed at runtime, these two variables will be created. These are row type variables. That's why they can hold entire row. New holds new row, old holds old row. New purpose is new holds new row, old holds old row. Okay, three cases are there. In case of insert, this is a new row. So new holds this new row. In case of insert, there is no old row. Old values will be null. In case of insert, new holds new row. Old values will be null. Second case, update. In case of update, before updating whatever the row was there, that will be stored in old. Before update row, old row. After update row, new row. HYD modified as Bangalore. This new row. Before update, old row. After update, new row. New holds new row, old holds old row. In case of update. In case of delete, we are deleting existing record. 1, 2, 3, 4 means old row. In case of delete, there is no new row. So new value is null, old holds old row. This is the key point. In case of insert, new holds new row. We are inserting new row here. So new holds new row. Old value will be null. In case of update, before update, whatever the row was there, that will be stored in old. So old holds before update row. New holds new row after update row. In case of delete, there is no new record. So new holds null. Old holds old row. Did you understand this point? Next, listen. Now see one example on auditing tables. How to audit the table? Define a trigger to audit EMP table. If any user is accessing our EMP table, I want to record in the background. So create one table like this, EMP audit. So in this, I want to maintain like this. Pay attention, listen carefully. See, here I want to maintain which user accessed our table is username I want to get here. on which date, at which time he performed operation. That operation date type I want to maintain here. Which operation he performed, that operation type I want to maintain. What was old data, what is new data I want to record here. So what was old employee number, old e-name, old salary. Okay, what is new employee number, new e-name, new salary. Like this. Like this I want to record in this table. If any user is accessing our EMP table, that information I want to record here. Okay. Observe now. If any user is accessing our EMP table, this is EMP table. If any user is accessing our EMP table, if any user is accessing EMP table, means if he is performing insert operation or update operation or delete operation, if any user is submitting insert operation or update operation or delete operation on EMP table, this action I want to record in the EMP audit with the help of trigger. This trigger records that in this. When user is submitting insert or update or delete on EMP table, implicitly it calls trigger. Trigger records that information in the EMP audit. Just everything you know here. Listen. And one more important point I want to tell. Pay attention, listen carefully. Here, how to access? I want to access 1, 2, 3, 4. How to access 1, 2, 3, 4 now? If this variable name is R is row type variable. If the variable name is R, how to access 1, 2, 3, 4? R.SID. Now variable name is colon new. Now variable name is colon new. How to access 1, 2, 3, 4? Colon new dot SID. That's it. Simple. Colon new dot SID means which value will be accessed? 1, 2, 3, 4. I want to access Bangalore. How to access? Colon new dot SCT. I want to access this HYD. Colon old dot SCT. I want to access A. Colon old dot SNAME. Like this. Like this we can access the data. Remember this. Okay. Now observe now. We want to audit the table. Which user is accessing our table? We want to store that information in this. How to get username you already know. To get current username, call the function user. User function, in the built-in functions I covered this. User function returns username. Date and time. How to get current system date and time you already know. Date and time both I want. System time. Okay. Forget about operation type, later we discuss. Access employee number. How to access employee number? Colon old dot employee number. How to access employee name? Colon old dot e-name. How to access employee salary? Colon old dot salary. How to access new employee number? Colon new dot employee number. To access new employee name? Colon new dot e-name. To access new salary? Colon new dot salary. Like this. Every value how to get we know. Right? Insert command, insert all these values. Just one value we don't know. What is that one? Operation type. Now we have to find the operation type here. Find operation type now. How to find this operation type? Listen. There are 3 trigger predicates are there. There are 3 trigger predicates are there. 3 trigger predicates are there. Those are called inserting, updating, deleting. These are called trigger predicates. They return Boolean value. They return Boolean value like true, false. Suppose if we submit insert command, in case of insert, inserting returns true, updating and deleting returns false, because we are performing insert operation. If insert command is submitted, inserting returns true, updating, deleting returns false. Suppose if we submit update command here, okay, if you submit update command, what inserting returns, what update returns, what delete returns, false. In case of delete command, if you submit delete command, what inserting returns, what updating returns, what deleting returns, true, like this. They return boolean value. Okay, based on our submitted command, they return boolean value. In case of insert, inserting returns true. Okay, update, delete returns false. In case of update, updating returns true, inserting, deleting returns false. In case of delete, deleting returns true, inserting, updating returns false. So I'm writing code like this. If to hold operation type, I'm taking one variable OP, varchar2 type. If inserting, then if user is submitting insert command, inserting returns true. If this condition is true, OP value should become insert. OP value should become insert. User is performing insert operation. I'm capturing operation type in OP variable. Else if user is submitting update command, updating returns true. If updating true means user is performing update operation. Else if user is submitting delete command, deleting returns true, means OP value should become delete, like this. Close this if, right, and easy. Suppose user is submitting update command here. Suppose user is submitting update command on EMP table. Inserting returns false. Updating returns true. OP value will become what? Update. They are getting operation type or not? Like this. To find the operation type, I am taking the help of these three trigger predicates. Inserting, updating, deleting. These are called trigger predicates. They return boolean value. If user is submitting update command, updating returns true. So OP value will become update. Suppose user is submitting insert command. Suppose user is submitting insert command, inserting returns true. OP value will become insert. Suppose user is submitting delete command here. Okay, inserting false, updating false, deleting true. OP value will become delete. Operation type I am holding in the OP. So that OP value insert in the operation type. That's it. Now we know how to insert all these values. To get current username, user. To get user access data and time, systimestamp. To capture operation type, OP variable. To capture old employee number, old dot employee number. Old employee name, old dot e name. To get old salary, old dot salary. To get new values, new dot employee number, new dot e name, new dot salary, like this. Okay, next. Listen. Define the trigger now. You tell me the code for auditing. So define the trigger T3. What we have to write here? Create or replace. Listen. First let me explain. So we want to audit EMP table now. So what we are writing here? Create or replace trigger. Trigger name is T3. Which trigger we have to define? Before trigger or after trigger? After trigger. After performing insert operation, record that in the EMP audit. After performing delete operation, record that in the EMP audit. After performing DML operation, so after trigger, after insert or update or delete. On which table? EMP table. For every row, trigger should be executed. If 10 rows updated, 10 times trigger should be executed. If 5 rows deleted, 5 times trigger should be executed. So row level trigger we want. So what we write here? For each row, write declare begin end semicolon slash end semicolon slash. So first identify operation type here. To hold operation type, take one variable OP. To hold operation type, take one variable OP. Which data type? Okay. How to identify operation type? You already know. If inserting, then capture OP value as insert. Else if updating, then capture OP value as update. Else if deleting, if user is submitting delete command, deleting returns true, OP value should become delete. Like this, we are identifying operation type. These values we want to insert into EMP audit. So what we are writing here, insert into EMP audit. Values, which user accessed our table, that username I want to insert. User, on which date, at which time he accessed our table, that value I want to insert. System, which operation he performed, operation type I want to insert. OP. Okay, what was the old employee number I want to insert? Old dot employee number. Okay, what was the old name I want to insert? Old dot e-name. Old salary I want to insert. Old dot salary. In the same way, new dot employee number, new dot e-name, new dot salary. That's it. And remember that in the trigger, don't write commit or rollback. Remember this point. That's it. This is auditing. You tell me the code now. How to audit the EMP table? Create or replace trigger name T3. Before trigger or after trigger? After performing which operations? Insert or delete or update. On which table? An EMP table. Okay, we want to define row level trigger. So write for each row, declare begin, end, semicolon, slash. Okay, to hold operation type, declare one variable. Okay, varchar capture operation type. How to capture operation? Then OP colon equals to L updating, then OP colon equals to update. Next, else if deleting, then OP colon equals to delete. To close this, if we are writing end if. So what is this inserting, updating, deleting? What are these inserting, updating, deleting? These are called trigger predicates. They return Boolean value. Okay. So using them, we are identifying operation type. Now insert values into EMP audit. What we are writing here? Insert into EMP audit values. Okay. To insert current user name. To get current system date and time, system stamp. To insert operation type, OP. To insert old employee number, old dot employee number. To insert old employee name, old dot e-name. To insert old salary, old dot salary. Okay. To insert new employee number, new dot employee number. To insert new employee name, new dot e-name. Okay, to insert new salary, new dot salary, bracket close, semicolon. Okay, remember that. Don't write commit or rollback in the trigger. Don't write commit or rollback in the trigger. Remember this point. Okay, listen. This table is not ready. Let me create this table first. This table is not ready. Let me create this table. Create this table now. Okay, how to create this table? Create table, EMP audit. What is the first column name? Your name. Which data type? Varchar 2 of 20. Okay, next operation date type. Which data type? Timestamp data type. Next, operation type. Operation type. Which data type? Worker 2. Next, old employee number. Old employee number. Which data type? Number. Old e-name. Worker 2. Old salary. Old salary. Number. Number of 7, 2. Next, new. Okay, just instead of writing old employee number here, write new employee number, new e-name, new salary. That's it. So this is the way of creating EMP audit table. Now EMP audit table will be created. See here, what it is telling? Table created. EMP audit table created. Open and see the table data. Select star from EMP audit. As of now, no data is there. Observe. Now create this trigger. Create this trigger T3. T3 trigger created. See here. Trigger created. T3 trigger created. Just open and see EMP audit table data. Select star from EMP audit. Okay, see here, no rows are there. Observe. Now I am submitting one insert command on EMP table. Insert into EMP, employee number, e-name, salary, values. I am inserting one new record. Observe now. I am giving employee number as 5678, employee name ABC, salary 6000 I am giving. So when we perform insert, when we submit insert command, old holds null. This is old. This is old. Old holds what? Null. This is new. New holds this new row. New holds this new row. So new employee number, e-name, salary. Okay, what is new employee number here? 5678. New employee name ABC. New salary 6000. In case of insert, old holds null. New holds new row. How to access this employee number now? Colon new dot employee number. How to access this e-name? Colon new dot e-name. How to access this salary? Colon new dot salary. So these values will be inserted in the EMP audit in the background. Okay. Colon old dot employee number null. Colon old dot e-name null. Colon old dot salary null. New employee number 5678. New e-name ABC. New salary 6000. These values will be inserted in the EMP audit in the background, because when we submit insert command, implicitly it calls trigger. But as of now, maybe T2 trigger restricts us because after office timings. Okay. Who is restricting us? T2. Because of after office timings, it is restricting us. Disable T2 trigger. How to disable T2 trigger? Alter trigger T2 disable. Alter trigger T2 disable. Disable. Okay. Now open and see this EMP audit data. See here. Okay. As of now, no rows are there. In the EMP audit, as of now, no rows are there. Okay. Now let me insert one new row in the EMP table. Observe here. This record inserted in the EMP table, user can see this much only. But in the background, implicitly it is calling T3 trigger. What this T3 trigger is doing? This T3 trigger is inserting this action in the EMP audit. In the EMP audit, it is recording which user accessed, on which date, at which time, which operation he performed, what was old data, what is new data. This trigger is recording in the EMP audit. Recorded or not? Check here. Select star from EMP audit. See here. Recorded or not? Please confirm, recorded or not? So before submitting insert command, EMP audit was not having any row. Just user is seeing this much only. Just user submitted insert command. But in the background, our trigger recorded this action in the EMP audit. It is recording like this. Which user accessed our table? Batch 2 PM user. On which date he accessed? 23rd January. At which time he accessed? 3:45. He accessed our table. So which operation he performed? Which operation he performed here? Insert. In case of insert, old holds null. This value is null. Observe. New holds new row. Which record he inserted? This record he inserted. And remember that don't write commit or rollback in the trigger. Why, sir? Why? Because if you write commit here, what happens, you know? If you write commit here, what happens here is, listen. If you write commit there, if user is cancelling this action, okay, user is cancelling this action, means this insertion will be cancelled from the EMP table. In the EMP table, already 5, 6, 7, 8 record inserted. Because of user submitted rollback, this record deleted. So user action cancelled here. The trigger, if you write commit, you are saving that action. Okay, so that is a problem. That's why don't write commit or rollback in the trigger. If user is committing, this commit will be applied to our trigger also. If user is submitting rollback here, this will be applied to our trigger also. In the trigger, we never write rollback or commit, because the trigger, if we commit, if user is rollbacking, okay, mistake. That's why don't write commit or rollback in the trigger. Remember this. Next. Now, see here. I am submitting update command now. I am submitting update command. As of now, this is EMP audit table data. Just now we inserted this 5, 6, 7, 8 record. As of now, his salary is 6,000. I want to increase 2,000 rupees salary to him. So I'm writing like this. Update EMP set salary equals to salary plus 2,000, where employee number equals to 5, 6, 7, 8. So user can see this much only. User can see this much only. But in the background, our trigger recorded that in the EMP audit. Recorded or not, check here. Select star from EMP audit. See here. Batch 2 PM user on 23rd January at 3:49. He performed update operation. Okay, which operation? What was old data? This was old data. 6,000 old salary. New salary 8,000. Old is holding old record. New is holding new record. Next. Suppose user is submitting delete command. Delete from EMP, where employee number equals to 5, 6, 7, 8. User can see this much only. User can see this much only. This action will be recorded in our EMP audit in the background. Batch 2 PM user on 23rd January at 3:49. He accessed our table. He performed delete operation. In case of delete, old holds old row. Old holds old row. New values will be none. Like this. In case of delete, old holds old row. New values will be none. So by seeing this, you should get clarity on old and new. In case of insert, old holds null. New holds new row. In case of update, before update, that will be stored in old. After update, that will be stored in new. In case of delete, old holds old row. New values will be null. Like this. So if user is submitting rollback here, this action is also applicable for trigger. This action is also applicable for trigger. Our EMP audit also rolled back. Observe. If user is submitting rollback, this is also applicable for our trigger. That's why don't write commit. If you write commit here in the trigger, our EMP audit data will be committed, but user cancelled those actions. Wrong data you are maintaining. That's why we never write rollback or commit in the trigger. That's it. Now suppose I am increasing 1,000 rupees salary to managers. Update EMP set salary equals to salary plus 1,000, where job equals to manager. Observe the result here. How many rows updated? 3 rows updated. For every row, 1 time trigger executed. 3 rows updated. How many times trigger executed now? 3 times. 3 times trigger executed. Observe. See, 3 times inserted. Means 3 times trigger executed. That's why 3 records inserted. One insert command can insert only 1 record. But here 3 records inserted because trigger executed for 3 times. So on 23rd January at 3:52, user performed update operation. User performed update operation. These are the 3 managers records. So this was old salary. This is new salary. This old data, new data. Old data, new data. If any unauthorized user is accessing, we can identify here. On which date, at which time he did fraud, we can identify here. So with trigger, security will be there. That's it. So this is trigger code. Please confirm. Did you understand how to audit the table? Is it clear? If any unauthorized user is accessing, okay, if any unauthorized user is performing DML operation on EMP table, we can identify them in the background. In the EMP audit, we can find them, which user accessed, on which date, at which time he accessed, okay, which fraud he did, which data he modified, what was old data, what is new data, everything we can identify here. Security. That's it. So now you know very clearly how to control DMLs, you know, and how to audit the tables, you know. Tomorrow we discuss about how to define our own constraints. This part I cover. After that, we discuss about what is schema level trigger, database level trigger. With this, triggers topic will be finished. Tomorrow, definitely I finish triggers topic. After that, we start new topic. What is the next topic? Collections. After triggers, we discuss about collections. Okay. Thank you, everyone. See you tomorrow.